single dad, a high-powered CEO, finds himself in a frantic situation when he accidentally dials the wrong emergency babysitter. The woman steps into view, someone whose kindness had admired from afar, though they'd never properly met. The boardroom lights flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows as the tempest unleashed its fury upon the skyline. Ethan Carter loomed at the head of a sleek glass table, his sleeves rolled up, voice sharp and commanding as he gestured toward the flickering projection screen. He found himself at the climax of a high-stakes acquisition deal, a culmination of months spent in intense negotiation. In an instant, his phone erupted with a buzz on the table, shattering the silence. The number belonged to the nanny. With a deep furrow etched across his brow, he offered a curt nod of apology before slipping into the shadows of the hallway. "Was it Marlene?" A frantic voice crackled through the speaker, laced with urgency and fear. "Mr. Walker, I regret to inform you that I won't be able to reach Chloe tonight." My car sputtered to a halt, leaving me stranded, with no hope of reaching the city. Ethan pressed his fingers against the bridge of his nose, a gesture of frustration that spoke volumes in the silence of the room. "Are you really revealing this to me now? My daughter is unwell, and here I am, trapped in this meeting with just 1 hour to go. I've already reached out to your assistant. She promised to find a replacement." With a final click, he severed the connection, inhaling deeply as he steeled himself before re-entering the room filled with anticipation. After delivering his orders to the VP, he turned his attention to the glowing screen, eager to uncover the messages waiting for him. A solitary message from his assistant flickered to life on his screen. "Emergency sitter secured. Rebecca's sister is en route, racing against time." He slipped the phone into his pocket and exited the office, entering the elevator with the composed demeanor of a master navigating a world in constant turmoil. He stepped into his penthouse 20 minutes later, loosening his tie as he crossed the threshold into the warm, inviting glow of the apartment. Chloe lay curled up on the couch, a blanket wrapped tightly around her, her cheeks burning with fever as she clutched her beloved stuffed rabbit, seeking comfort in its familiar softness. Her gaze drifted upward, heavy with drowsiness, as she met his eyes. "Father?" He knelt beside her, his fingers gently sweeping the hair from her forehead, a tender gesture that spoke volumes in the stillness of the moment. "I have arrived, my dear." Relief is just around the corner. Brighter days await you. A sudden chime pierced the silence, echoing through the stillness of the house. He straightened his back and strode toward the door, bracing himself for the familiar sight of one of Rebecca's colleagues, clad in their standard uniform of professionalism. Instead, a woman stood there, soaked to the skin from the relentless rain, her hair hastily gathered into a messy bun. She clutched a small tote bag, and her navy blue cardigan, more fitting for a classroom than the urgency of an emergency nanny call, clung to her like a second skin. She gazed up at him, her lashes heavy with droplets, blinking away the shimmering veil of water. "Hello, my name is Sophie Bennett." A message flashed on my screen, urgent and demanding. Someone was in desperate need of an emergency babysitter. Aiden's brow furrowed in deep thought. "Are you the sister of Rebecca?" She tilted her head, a flicker of curiosity dancing in her eyes. "Rebecca? Not at all, I believe." A shadow of doubt crept in, whispering that this might have been a grave error. A heavy silence hung in the air, stretching on like an eternity. Then Chloe coughed behind him, a frail sound that twisted like a knife in his chest. He pushed the door open wider, revealing the shadows that danced just beyond the threshold. "Whether it was a mistake or not, I find myself in desperate need of help at this very moment. Will you linger a while longer?" "Only for this night." Lily paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes, before finally giving a reluctant nod. "Absolutely." In mere moments, she had shed her coat, discarded her shoes, and found herself kneeling beside Chloe on the couch, her voice a gentle melody as she engaged the little girl in conversation. With a tender hand, she felt the warmth of her forehead, offering a cool sip of water to soothe her. As she gently rubbed her back, her voice wove enchanting tales, wrapping them both in a cocoon of comfort and care. Aiden lingered in the hallway, his mind racing, caught in a web of disbelief. When he finally returned with the fever medication, he found Chloe fast asleep, nestled against Lily's side, a picture of serene vulnerability. With a hushed urgency, he passed the medicine, his eyes darting around as if the very walls were listening. It appears you have a firm grasp on the situation." Lily's lips curled into a smile, her gaze fixed on the ground, as if the world around her faded into the background. "Once, I stood at the front of a vibrant classroom, surrounded by the laughter and curiosity of tiny explorers. I find myself in a world of uncertainty, where shadows dance and whispers linger in the air. Each moment feels charged with possibility, as if the very fabric of reality is waiting to unravel. My journey is just beginning, and the path ahead is shrouded in mystery, beckoning me to step forward into the unknown." Pausing for a moment, Aiden remained silent, the question lingering in the air, unspoken and heavy with unasked curiosity. He stood there, a silent observer, as Lily tenderly maneuvered Chloe onto a pillow, her delicate hands pulling the blanket snugly up to her chin. In the dim light of the kitchen, Lily carefully brewed the tea she had discovered, tucked away in the cabinet. Aiden perched at the counter, his mind racing, grappling with the mystery of how this enigmatic stranger had soothed his daughter in a way that no one else ever could. "I'm sorry again," Lily whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. A chill ran down my spine as I stared at the message. Convinced it was from a family I had once babysat for years ago, I simply arrived unexpectedly. He shook his head, a silent storm brewing within him. "Your arrival was nothing short of a lifeline in the chaos." They lingered in silence, the air thick with unspoken thoughts, until Lily's gaze drifted toward the dimly lit hallway where Chloe lay asleep. "She is an enchanting little girl." "There's no doubt you're on the right path," Aiden exhaled, the sound echoing with a weighty sense of relief. "I make my attempt. Some days, it feels as though I am merely enduring against all odds. There are others who share your experience." He studied her intently, catching the weary glimmer that lingered in her gentle eyes. "Your skills in this area are impressive. Are you certain you've truly left the role of a teacher behind?" Her lips curled into a subtle, elusive smile. "The situation is tangled and intricate." He held back, choosing silence over inquiry. Yet, there was something about her. Her very presence, her unwavering steadiness, that stirred a deep unease within him, awakening the part of his soul that had long since learned to thrive in solitude. As the rain drummed relentlessly against the windows, Aiden Walker, CEO of Walker & Company, felt a stirring within him. For the first time in years, someone had entered his life, casting a warm glow in the shadows of his solitude. The apartment lay in a hushed stillness, the distant murmur of the city below, barely breaking through the barrier of double-paned glass. Lily lingered in the dimly lit hallway, her gaze fixed on Chloe, who lay serenely on the oversized couch. The little girl's small frame curled protectively beneath the thick-knit blanket, a picture of innocence and tranquility. The fever had begun to wane, a flicker of hope amidst the shadows of illness. Her cheeks, still flushed with a hint of pink, had lost their fiery heat. Aiden materialized next to Lily, cradling 2 steaming mugs of tea in his hands. "I think she's out for the night," Lily whispered, her voice barely breaking the stillness around them. With a deliberate motion, he extended a cup toward her, the warm steam curling into the air, inviting and mysterious. With your encouragement, she embraced it, cradling it in her hands for warmth. All she craved was a pair of ears to hear her, and perhaps a warm cup of ginger tea to soothe her soul. Aiden let out a soft, fleeting chuckle, a sound so rare it seemed to hang in the air like a whisper of secrets untold. In that moment, I knew I had to make a decision. The urgency in the air was palpable, and the weight of the opportunity hung between us like a charged spark. "I should hire you on the spot," I declared, feeling the gravity of my words resonate with the promise of what was to come. Lily arched an eyebrow, a flicker of intrigue dancing in her gaze. What an intriguing job offer it would be, especially since my arrival here was nothing short of an accident. "You arrived when everyone else had vanished," he stated quietly. They perched on opposite ends of the expansive leather sofa, the living room stretching between them like an unbridgeable chasm. Between them, the city lights sprawled infinitely, shimmering like distant stars, forever out of reach. Aiden reclined, the tension in his shoulders easing as he let out a slow breath. Lily cradled her tea, her gaze drifting from the sprawling skyline to the photo frames adorning the console table. One captured Aiden with a younger Chloe, their laughter frozen in time, while another revealed a woman with bright eyes and a gentle smile, evoking a sense of warmth and nostalgia. She was beautiful, Lily whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence. Aiden's eyes trailed after her gaze, drawn into the depths of her unspoken thoughts. His voice dropped to a whisper. She embodied it all. The air hung heavy with an unsettling stillness. "I'm sorry," Lily whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence that hung between them. 2 years have slipped away since she left this world, he murmured, his gaze fixed firmly away from the photo, a relentless foe lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. Its presence looms, a dark cloud overshadowing hopes and dreams, igniting a battle within the body and soul. It raced by in an instant. It was all happening too fast. Lily remained silent, her thoughts swirling in a tempest of unspoken words. She nodded slowly, allowing the gravity of the moment to envelop her like a thick fog. Aiden's gaze was locked onto the swirling tea in his hands, each ripple a whisper of secrets waiting to be uncovered. From that moment on, it was only Chloe and me against the world. Nannies drift in and out of our lives like whispers in the wind. Plans shift unexpectedly. Life rushes forward, relentless, even as you struggle to catch your breath. Lily leaned in, her heart racing as she strained to catch every whisper that danced through the air. "Do you seek assistance? What does family truly mean?" she inquired. "Not at all. My parents reside on the opposite side of the country." Her parents loomed in the shadows of her mind, figures of both comfort and conflict. Their presence a constant reminder of the tangled web of love and expectation that defined her existence. His voice faded into silence. "The situation is far from simple." Both of their eyes flickered to Chloe, who released a soft sigh, barely audible, as she drifted deeper into her dreams. "Shoes strong," Lily murmured, her voice barely breaking the silence. Aiden gave a solemn nod, his expression heavy with unspoken thoughts. On certain days, she seemed to possess a strength that eclipsed my own, and Lily smiled. He paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, before finally uttering, "You're doing a good job." His gaze met hers, a flicker of astonishment crossing his features. "In less than 3 hours, you've come to know me." 3 hours is ample time to witness the way your gaze lingered on her, as tears streamed down her cheeks. Long enough to witness the world come to a standstill when she calls for you. Aiden's jaw tightened, a storm of emotions swirling just beneath the surface of his unwavering gaze. Lily's presence held an unspoken power, a calm assurance that allowed words to flow freely, unburdened by the need to mend every broken piece. With a subtle shift, he deftly redirected the conversation. "What keeps someone like you away from a room buzzing with the laughter and curiosity of children?" Lily paused, uncertainty gripping her heart. She began slowly, her fingers tightening around the mug as she recalled a student. "He was wounded. It was an accident, yet the weight of guilt clung to me like a shadow, relentless and suffocating, even when the world around me offered forgiveness. I stepped away, then lingered longer, and ultimately I never returned. I think," Lily said after a long, heavy pause, "I forgot how to be around children without feeling that familiar fear creeping in." He tilted his head ever so slightly, a subtle movement that hinted at the tension in the air. "You appeared unafraid tonight." Her smile was a mere whisper of light, barely touching the shadows that lingered around her. Chloe effortlessly wove her way through the chaos, leaving a trail of simplicity in her wake. Silence enveloped them once more, not in discomfort, but in that peculiar moment where two strangers begin to shed their unfamiliarity, inching closer to something more profound. At last Aiden rose to his feet. "The guest room is all yours. It lies just down the hall, shrouded in mystery and anticipation. Chloe finds solace in the presence of another, and in this moment, I place my trust in you." Lily's eyes fluttered open, a moment of surprise washing over her. "Are you absolutely certain?" He offered her a weary yet genuine nod, the weight of unspoken words lingering in the air between them. "Doubt has clouded my mind in recent days, yet this moment resonates with an undeniable certainty." She trailed behind him into the dimly lit hallway, her gaze lingering on the girl curled up on the couch, lost in a deep slumber. Aiden's gaze locked onto her, a silent storm brewing in his eyes. "Thank you, Lily, for this unforgettable night." Her lips curled into a smile, a flicker of warmth igniting in her eyes. "I appreciate your generosity in allowing me to stay." As the door to the guest room clicked shut behind her, Aiden lingered in the silence, his gaze fixed on the empty space she had just occupied. He felt a flicker of curiosity about her, though he hesitated to ask personal questions. Yet, in the shadows of the hallway, an enigmatic figure was weaving a spell, transforming his existence from a weighty burden into a sanctuary of belonging. The next morning crept in silently, as golden rays of sunlight filtered through the half-closed curtains, casting a warm glow in the dim room. Aiden stood in the kitchen, clad in a crisp suit, his footsteps echoing against the tiled floor as he paced restlessly. The phone was glued to his ear, his voice a low murmur of urgency, while his other hand poured cereal into a bowl, the sound of crunching flakes punctuating the tension in the air. Chloe perched at the counter in her pajamas, her feet swinging rhythmically as she absent-mindedly toyed with her spoon. In the doorway, Lily emerged, a vision of casual elegance. Clad in simple jeans and a soft gray sweater, her hair was loosely tied back, framing her face with an effortless charm. "Good morning," she whispered softly, her voice wrapping around the words like a warm embrace. Chloe's face ignited with a radiant glow. "Miss Lily?" Aiden spun around, taken aback by the sudden surge of enthusiasm radiating from his usually quiet daughter. "It seems someone is overjoyed at your arrival." Lily's lips curled into a smile as she glided over, each step filled with purpose. "A craving for pancakes washes over me, a warm and inviting thought that beckons with the promise of comfort and indulgence." Aiden arched an eyebrow, intrigue flickering in his gaze. "Last night, you hardly touched the toast." "I've had a change of heart," Lily chuckled, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Do you mind if I create something for her? I possess a certain magic when it comes to pancake." Aiden paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face, before he finally moved aside, stepped right in. In mere moments, the kitchen was enveloped in the intoxicating aroma of vanilla and cinnamon, weaving a spell that beckoned all who entered. Chloe's laughter danced through the air as Lily expertly flipped the pancakes, her movements a graceful ballet, while blueberries tumbled into place, forming twinkling stars on the golden canvas. "I had no idea we had blueberries," Aiden whispered, his voice laced with surprise. "I discovered them hidden behind a fortress of protein bars," Lily said, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she tossed him a playful glance. He perched at the counter, eyes locked on Chloe as she savored every bite of her breakfast, each morsel disappearing with an almost ravenous delight. For weeks, he had watched his daughter drift through life, her spirit dimmed, her laughter silenced. But now, a spark ignited within her, a vibrant energy that had been absent even in the presence of family and the hired nannies who had come and gone. Once the last dish was washed and set aside, Lily's gaze shifted to Aiden, a spark of unspoken tension hanging in the air between them. "If you find yourself in need of assistance today, I'm available and ready to help. Do you have no other plans in mind?" With a subtle lift of her shoulders, she dismissed the weight of the moment. It was a finality that echoed in the silence, a declaration that changed everything. Aiden's gaze lingered on her, a silent storm brewing in his mind. The offer carried an air of intimacy, transcending mere professionalism. She was making her choice, selecting them with intent. "I'd appreciate that," he murmured, his voice laced with a hint of urgency. What began as just another day spiraled into 3, then a full week. Lily wove herself into the fabric of their daily rhythm. As they strolled to the park, she guided Chloe through the delicate art of folding paper swans, each crease a whisper of magic. Together, they transformed letters into vibrant creations, the glitter pens shimmering like stars, while an abundance of stickers turned their world into a canvas of imagination. Aiden returned each night to the vibrant sounds of laughter, reverberating through the hall, accompanied by tales that danced on the edge of mystery, stories Chloe had kept hidden from the world. On a sun-drenched Saturday afternoon, Aiden extended an invitation to Lily, beckoning her to the vibrant farmer's market that buzzed with life and color. As they meandered through vibrant booths, bursting with fresh flowers and the sweet aroma of homemade jams, Chloe clasped Lily's hand tightly, their eyes wide with wonder as they watched a charming puppet show unfold before them. They purchased a refreshing lemonade and indulged in a massive cinnamon roll, with Chloe playfully insisting on feeding them in alternating bites, each morsel a delightful moment shared between them. It felt, with a thrilling intensity, like a real family. As the sun dipped low in the sky, they unfurled a blanket beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, the world around them fading into a tapestry of colors and whispers. Lily pressed her back against the sturdy trunk, her voice weaving through the pages of a storybook, while Chloe nestled close, lost in the warmth of the moment. Aiden observed them from the picnic basket, his heart contorting with a mix of beauty and dread. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the landscape, Chloe nestled her head on Lily's lap, her voice barely above a whisper, as she shared a secret that hung in the air like a fragile thread. Lily's gaze dropped, her heart racing with surprise. "What was that you just whispered, my dear?" Chloe's voice rose, echoing with urgency as she repeated herself. "Will you be my new mommy?" The words lingered in the atmosphere, suspended like a fragile thread, waiting to unravel their secrets. Lily's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as her fingers gently wove through Chloe's hair. Her eyes darted to Aiden, who stood utterly still, as if time itself had paused around him. Silence enveloped him, a heavy shroud that rendered his voice lost in the depths of his turmoil. Lily's lips curled into a gentle smile as she replied, "That's quite a profound question, Chloe. Let's continue this adventure together, shall we?" Chloe nodded, a sense of peace washing over her, and before long, she drifted into a deep slumber, her head resting gently in her lap. Aiden finally released a breath he didn't realize he was holding, his footsteps barely making a sound as he approached. He lingered in silence beside them, his gaze fixed on the two figures who had effortlessly shattered the very foundation of his existence. He finally spoke, his voice low and heavy with disbelief. "She's never uttered words like that to anyone before." "I didn't know what to say," Lily confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your words struck a perfect chord." They sat in silence, a heavy stillness that enveloped them, transforming the space between into something deeper than mere strangers passing time. Instead, it felt like the dawn of an uncharted journey, one that loomed before them, shrouded in a veil of unspoken fears. Yet, an undeniable change had taken root, and they both sensed that this was no fleeting moment. The week that followed slipped away in a haze of well-worn habits, morning meals echoing with joy, afternoons lost in the pages of the library, and nights wrapped in the warmth of beloved storybooks. On the surface, it appeared to be a flawless portrait of joy. Yet, a transformation had taken root within Aiden, and Lily sensed it in the air around them. He had grown silent, a shadow of his former self, wrapped in an air of mystery. He couldn't help but smile as Chloe clung tightly to Lily's hand, her eyes sparkling with joy as she proudly displayed the drawing they had created together. Yet within his gaze, there lingered an unsettling distance, something just beyond her grasp. As twilight descended, casting a warm glow through the windows, Chloe drifted into a peaceful slumber after an exhilarating day at the aquarium. In the living room, Aiden stepped quietly, his presence a gentle whisper against the backdrop of soft melodies, where Lily sat immersed in her task, meticulously sorting a vibrant array of colored pencils. He took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation, and cleared his throat. The tantalizing aroma of dinner wafted through the air, signaling that the moment of feasting was just around the corner. "If you wish, you can stay with us." Her gaze lifted, and a smile broke across her face, illuminating the shadows around her. "I would welcome that with open arms." Yet there was an unsettling quality in his tone that caused her to pause, uncertainty creeping into her mind. Later, as they sat at the table, with Chloe peacefully asleep in her room, an unsettling weight hung in the air between them, thickening the silence. Lily delicately nudged her half-empty plate away, her eyes narrowing with concern as she asked, "Is everything okay, Aiden?" He hesitated, the silence stretching between them like a taut wire. He filled a glass with water, his gaze fixed on its surface, and then spoke. "This, whatever we've created, is beginning to feel like something far beyond my expectations." Lily's heart raced, a sudden jolt of adrenaline coursing through her veins. Is that truly a problem? She whispered softly. He shook his head, a silent storm brewing within him. Not exactly, but the situation is far from simple. She nodded slowly, her fingers intertwining on the table, a silent tension hanging in the air. Fear grips you. I'm terrified, he confessed, his voice trembling with raw emotion. Terrified of letting you in, of Chloe getting attached, of losing everything all over again. Her gaze melted with warmth. Aiden, I never intended to step into your world and take the place of another. You didn't, he said, his voice sharp and urgent. Yet, that doesn't imply I possess the skills to navigate this challenge. In the shadow of my grief, I vowed to protect Chloe from the heartache that had consumed me. For 2 long years, every moment has been dedicated to ensuring she never experiences that kind of loss again. Lily spoke softly, her voice laced with understanding. You're trying to shield her. Perhaps safeguarding her requires keeping everyone at a distance. Lily's throat constricted, pulling me into the moment. Silence hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. He remained unresponsive. The silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud that spoke volumes in its stillness. Lily rose with deliberate slowness, her fingers curling around the strap of her bag, as if it held the weight of her thought. I think I should go, Lily, he began, his voice barely above a whisper, as if the weight of his words could shatter the fragile silence that enveloped them. Yet, her lips curled into a faint, sorrowful smile, a flicker of emotion that spoke volumes. Your silence speaks volumes. I grasp it all. You're unprepared. She approached the front door, hesitated, and then glanced back one final time. The night I arrived at your door, I had no intention of finding a family. Yet, against all odds, you transformed into one. Yet, I find myself trapped, unsure of how to escape without feeling the sting of loss. She vanished into the shadows before he could utter a single word. The apartment seemed to chill, an eerie silence settling in the spaces she once filled. The next morning, Chloe awoke to an unsettling silence, her gaze falling upon the empty hallway where Lily's shoes once lay, now vanished without a trace. Her gaze darted around the room, a swirl of confusion enveloping her, until it landed on a small folded note resting on the table in the playroom. With a delicate touch, her tiny fingers pried it open, each movement filled with anticipation. Your courage and kindness shine brightly, and my heart will forever hold you dear. With all my heart, Miss Lily. Chloe pressed the note tightly against her heart, tears streaming down her cheeks as the weight of its words enveloped her. As Ethan burst through the door, her gaze shot up, wide and glistening with unshed tears. Did Miss Lily depart because of me? Ethan sank to his knees beside her, enveloping her in a tight embrace. Absolutely not, my dear. Absolutely not, my dear. Her departure was a consequence of my actions. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, a painful and undeniable truth pierced through the fog of his mind. He had focused solely on his daughter, keeping his life private to protect their little family. And now, he had cast aside the one person who had rekindled his faith in the possibility of feeling once more. Time slipped away, each day blending into the next. Then came a week. The apartment lay in an eerie silence. Silence hung in the air, thick and oppressive. Chloe ceased her pleas for Lily after the 3rd night, a silence settling over her like a heavy fog. Yet she held the tiny note close, a cherished talisman, gripping it tightly in her delicate hands whenever she believed she was unseen. Ethan's gaze lingered on her, a gnawing guilt consuming him from within, like relentless rust corroding metal. He rose with the dawn, meticulously preparing her lunch, then drove her to preschool, all the while slipping back into the rhythm of his meetings as if nothing had shifted. Yet beneath the surface, everything had transformed. One afternoon, after a particularly lifeless meeting, Ethan found himself at his desk, his gaze fixed on a coffee cup that Lily had once carelessly abandoned on the shelf, its presence a haunting reminder of what once was. A delicate ceramic piece adorned with tiny sunflowers, each petal whispering tales of warmth and light. It stirred memories of something warm within her. There was an emptiness, a void that echoed with the weight of something she had lost, something she longed for but could not grasp. His chest constricted, a heavy weight pressing down, as if the air itself had turned to lead. "I made a mistake," he whispered, his voice barely audible, laced with regret. In a moment of instinct, he yanked out his phone, his fingers racing over the screen as he flicked through contact after contact, urgency building until he finally landed on a number that felt like a lifeline. It wasn't Lily's. She had never offered it. Yet, he was certain he had arranged for the sitter's service weeks prior. This time, he leaned in closer, his voice low and intense. "Do you know where Sophie Bennett is?" A heavy silence hung in the air on the other end. Then, a hesitant voice broke the silence, revealing, "She volunteers at Maple and Bloom Books downtown, part-time. At times she finds herself immersed in the vibrant world of children, guiding their laughter and dreams." As dusk settled, Ethan lingered outside the quaint bookstore, wedged between the warm glow of a bakery and the vibrant blooms of a flower shop, his heart pounding in anticipation. Through the front window, he caught a glimpse of her. Lily nestled in the reading circle, her legs crossed on the vibrant rug, enveloped by a small band of eager children, their eyes sparkling with anticipation. Her eyes glimmered with wonder as she delved into the pages of a vividly illustrated book. Her voice danced through the air, vibrant and alive. Her cheerful demeanor captivated the children, who laughed along as she animatedly read stories. Ethan found himself frozen in place. She appeared so herself. She felt a pulse within her, a vibrant energy that had eluded her before she departed. As the reading session drew to a close, she stood up, embracing the little girl in a heartfelt goodbye before gathering the scattered books around her. As she pivoted to face the front of the store, her gaze locked onto his through the shimmering glass, a jolt of electricity coursing between them. She stood motionless, her breath caught in her throat. Ethan slipped through the doorway, his movements deliberate, fingers buried deep in the pockets of his coat. "Hi," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily's eyes flickered with uncertainty, a wall of caution surrounding her every thought. "Hello. I didn't come here to beg you to return," he declared. "I just needed to say thank you," she said, tilting her head slightly, her eyes glinting with unspoken emotions. "For what purpose? For providing me with something I thought was beyond my reach. For bestowing upon me a gift I never realized I craved." Lily cast her eyes downward, a veil of silence enveloping her. "Your hesitation was unmistakable," he confessed. "I wasn't. Yet, in the shadow of your absence, I came to understand that if I continue to dwell in fear, I may never find the courage to be ready." She crossed her arms, yet a flicker of warmth danced across her features. "Fear grips the heart, Ethan, yet love burns brighter still." He edged forward, his hand slipping into his pocket, retrieving an object that glinted in the dim light. A bracelet, vibrant and alive with mismatched plastic beads, held the letters Chloe at its heart, a secret waiting to be uncovered. "She crafted this for you the very night you walked away," he whispered, his voice heavy with unspoken memories. "She concealed it beneath her pillow, a secret resting in the shadows of her dreams. This morning, I stumbled upon it." Lily's fingers quivered with anticipation as she extended her hand and grasped it tightly. "She misses you," he said, his voice heavy with unspoken emotions. "We both share this burden." "I miss her too," Lily whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence that hung heavy in the air. Then, after a long pause, the words hung in the air, heavy with longing. "I miss you." Ethan's eyes sparkled with an intense light. "Lily, I can't keep up the facade that I have it all under control. Yet I'm certain of this. When you left, an emptiness enveloped the world around me, a chilling silence that echoed through the very fabric of my existence. There was a void, an absence that echoed in the silence." He let out a slow breath, his voice trembling slightly, revealing the vulnerability hidden beneath the facade of the CEO. "I yearned to take the plunge, by your side, in the presence of Chloe, united as one. There were no walls. There was no place to conceal oneself." She gazed upward, a glimmer of hope igniting like the first light of dawn in her eyes. "I can't promise I won't be scared," she whispered, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "I don't want perfect," he replied, his voice steady yet laced with an unspoken longing. "I crave authenticity." Her smile was gentle yet unwavering as she moved into his embrace. As he clutched her close, the bracelet nestled between their palms. Ethan felt the weight of a second chance settle upon him, and this time he would hold on with every ounce of his being. Lily hesitated, lingering on the threshold, not ready to step back inside just yet. Yet, she began to reappear, subtly, like a haunting melody that gradually weaves its way back into a long-lost tune. Each morning, she arrived before preschool, her presence a warm embrace. With a playful smile, she guided Chloe in choosing her socks, relishing the delightful chaos of mismatched patterns. As she packed the lunchbox, her fingers danced over the paper, leaving behind little handwritten notes that whispered love and encouragement. A secret treasure waiting to be discovered at lunchtime. At times, they would utter words that lingered in the air, urging courage for the day ahead, or reminding that the warmth of sunshine begins within oneself. Chloe cherished them deeply, and Ethan felt the same, though the words never escaped his lips. Their rhythm returned, unwavering and deliberate, each beat echoing with purpose. Pancake Saturdays had come back, the air thick with the scent of flour and the sound of laughter dancing through the kitchen. As the movie nights returned, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Lily nestled into one side of the couch, her presence warm and inviting. Chloe occupied the center, a bridge between two worlds, while Ethan lounged on the opposite end, their fingers occasionally grazing over the bowl of popcorn, a silent connection sparking in the dim light. The apartment, once shrouded in silence, now pulsed with the warmth of life once more. The air was thick with the sweet scent of cinnamon, wrapping around like a cozy blanket, mingling with the vibrant colors of crayons and the echoes of laughter that danced through the room. As the night deepened and Chloe drifted into slumber, her words trailing off in the midst of a bedtime tale, Ethan stepped into the dimly lit room. There, on the couch, he found Lily, lost in thought, her fingers gliding over a collection of vibrant drawings crafted by the young artist. "Look what I made today," Lily exclaimed, lifting one up for all to see. "It seems I've taken on the extraordinary role of a superhero babysitter and teacher, a dual identity that intertwines adventure with responsibility." Ethan let out a soft chuckle as he settled beside her, his gaze fixed intently on the picture before them. A stick figure representation of Lily donned a vibrant pink cape, flanked by Chloe and Ethan on either side, ready for an adventure that awaited them. "She's not wrong," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily gazed intently at the picture, her mind racing with memories, before finally setting it down on the table with a soft thud. Ethan's eyes widened, reflecting a mix of astonishment and curiosity as he processed her words. "Are you prepared?" Fear gripped her heart as she confessed. "I'm scared. But yes, I believe I truly am." He reached out, his fingers intertwining with hers, as his thumb danced in gentle circles over her knuckles, igniting a spark between them. "The classroom has felt your absence, echoing with the same longing we all share." Her smile was genuine, a rare spark of warmth, as she leaned into his shoulder, seeking comfort in his presence. "The moment you walked into the bookstore, a flood of memories surged within me, awakening the essence of who I once was, or perhaps who I still am beneath the surface." "You're so much more," he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence, a secret meant only for her ears. They lingered in that moment, the silence enveloping them, rich and profound, not a void but a tapestry, woven with unspoken words. Later that week, Ethan extended an invitation to Lily, leading her to a place shrouded in mystery. Her heart raced at the mention of the cemetery, a flicker of doubt crossing her mind, yet she found herself nodding in agreement, choosing not to pry for more information. As they traversed the serene tree-lined grounds, an air of anticipation hung between them, until he came to a halt before a humble headstone. Claire, a devoted wife, a treasured mother. Lily stood beside him, the air thick with the heavy echoes of memory. She possessed a kindness that radiated warmth, Ethan remarked, and her brilliance shone like a beacon in the dark. She transformed this place into a sanctuary, a true home. A true home. Her absence sent shockwaves through reality, as if the very fabric of the universe had unraveled. He inhaled deeply, the chill of the air swirling around him, each word escaping like a ghost in the night. For what felt like an eternity, I believed that to love again would be an act of treachery, that stepping into the future meant releasing her from my heart. Lily gazed up at him, her eyes soft and inviting. But you revealed to me that hearts are not tombs. They possess the capacity to embrace multiple loves. They have the potential to flourish. They hold on to their memories, yet remain open to the allure of the unknown. Her fingers brushed against his, a silent invitation that hung in the air, charged with unspoken emotions. I will never attempt to fill her shoes, Lily whispered, her voice barely above a breath. I don't want you to, he replied, his voice laced with a tension that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. Embrace your true self, unfiltered and unapologetic. With reverent hearts, they knelt, a single sunflower cradled gently in their hands, and laid it tenderly beside the headstone. Lily's brilliant concept began to take shape, igniting a spark of excitement that danced in the air around her. She would have liked you, Ethan murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, as if the weight of the words could summon her presence from the shadows. I hope so, Lily whispered, her voice barely breaking the silence that enveloped them. As they strolled back to the car, their fingers wove together effortlessly, a silent promise shared between them. It lacked grandeur, it was devoid of theatrics, yet it pulsed with authenticity. Two souls stood at the precipice of a new beginning, not starting anew, but rather from the tenderly repaired fragments of their shared past. And in that fateful choice, love lay dormant, never to be revived. It returned, as if drawn by an invisible force, to the place it once knew as home. Spring unfurled its delicate embrace, bringing with it gentle mornings kissed by the sun, and afternoons bathed in a warm, golden glow. And with it arrived a sensation that resonated deeply, akin to the embrace of peace. Lily had taken the plunge, embracing a part-time teaching role at a nearby preschool, mere blocks away from Ethan's apartment. As they strolled to school together, Chloe and her moved in perfect harmony, their laughter ringing out like a joyous melody through the stillness of the empty streets. On certain days, Ethan would cross paths with them on their return, a steaming cup of coffee cradled in his hand, feigning innocence with a facade of caffeine cravings. Yet, the way his gaze lingered on Lily betrayed a deeper intention, hinting at secrets that danced just beneath the surface. On a fateful Thursday afternoon, Chloe stepped through the door, her small hand gripping a golden certificate with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Look, she beamed, I was the student of the month. Ethan hoisted her into the air, twirling her gracefully in a mesmerizing circle. That's incredible. Your kindness to your friends shines brightly, and your ability to listen draws them in like moths to a flame. Naturally, they chose you. Chloe's eyes shimmered with an enchanting light. A ceremony is about to unfold. Will you both join us? I wouldn't miss it for anything, Ethan declared, his eyes gleaming with determination. On the day of the ceremony, Chloe found herself on stage, flanked by her classmates, as a small crowd of parents and teachers watched with eager anticipation. Her eyes locked onto Ethan and Lily, nestled together in the front row, and a grin spread across her face, stretching her cheeks to their limits. As the applause faded into echoes, she dashed toward them, enveloping both in a fervent embrace. Her voice trembled with emotion as she leaned closer. I'm so glad you're both here, she whispered, the weight of her words hanging in the air. As the night deepened, following a delightful dinner filled with laughter, sweet cupcakes, and an exhilarating dance party in the living room, Ethan gently tucked Chloe into her cozy bed. With her stuffed bunny held tightly in her arms, she whispered, I hope Miss Lily stays forever. He pressed his lips to her forehead, the gravity of her words settling softly against his heart. Same here, sweetheart. As he stepped back into the living room, he found Lily engrossed in the simple task of folding laundry, her soft hum weaving a gentle melody through the air. He lingered in the shadows, his gaze fixed on her, the air thick with anticipation, before finally taking a step closer. You've brought so much joy to our home, he said, his voice low and intense. She looked up, her cheeks flushed with a rosy hue. I hope that's okay, he said, a smile playing on his lips. It was more than just okay. He paused, then continued with a hint of uncertainty. Will you join us for dinner this Friday? Will you join us for dinner this Friday? Only the two of us? Stripped of distractions. No toys, no flickering screens, just the raw intimacy of a genuine dinner. Lily's eyes fluttered open, a moment of surprise washing over her. Are you really asking me on a date, Mr. Walker? His lips curled into a sly smirk. I believe I am, she said with a mischievous grin. Then I would be thrilled too. As Friday night descended, Ethan had truly outdone himself. Clad in a navy button-down, he meticulously arranged the table, each candle flickering with promise, while he ventured into the kitchen, determined to create a meal that would linger in memory. As Lily deftly salvaged the meal from the brink of catastrophe, Chloe perched in her special booster seat, her eyes sparkling with delight as she proclaimed the pasta to be fancy. With a triumphant grin, she raised her cup of apple juice, ready to deliver a toast that would echo with the charm of childhood wonder. With a sense of pride, she declared to us, our clan. Ethan and Lily locked eyes across the dancing shadows of flickering candlelight, a surge of unspoken emotion crackling in the air around them. As the moon hung high in the night sky, Lily slipped out onto the balcony, the cool air wrapping around her like a whispered secret, while the city lights twinkled below, beckoning her into the depths of the night. Ethan trailed behind, his heart pounding with anticipation. Lily declared with a spark in her eyes, She's happy. She's happy. Because of you. Ethan replied, his voice laced with a hint of something deeper. Lily shook her head, a storm of thoughts swirling within her, each one more tumultuous than the last. Was it because of us? Ethan pivoted towards her, his gaze intense and unwavering. Everything has shifted because of you, Lily. You restored the vibrancy to our once dull existence. With a swift motion, he delved into his pocket, fingers brushing against the fabric until they grasped a small velvet box, its presence heavy with unspoken promises. Lily stood motionless, her heart pounding in her chest. I'm not asking for forever tonight, Ethan said quickly, his fingers trembling as he opened the box to unveil a simple, elegant gold ring, its solitary diamond glinting in the dim light. I'm urging you to embrace the present moment, to the awakening in this place, to pancakes golden and fluffy waiting to be devoured. Books lay scattered across the floor, to everything that has transpired. By my side, Lily's eyes brimmed with tears, shimmering like fragile glass, ready to spill over at any moment. Yes, she breathed softly, her voice barely a flicker in the stillness. 1,000 times yes. From the shadows of the hallway, a drowsy voice echoed, breaking the silence of the night. Did someone just whisper the word pancakes into the air? They both laughed, and Ethan turned to Lily, sliding the ring onto her finger with a gaze so steeped in quiet love, it could have made the stars weep. In that fleeting instant, everything fell into place, and the voids that once lingered vanished into thin air. 1 year later, golden rays of sunlight cascaded through the lush canopy of a serene garden nestled behind a weathered brick townhouse in Brooklyn. White chairs stood sentinel along a narrow cobblestone path, petals strewn like whispers beneath eager feet, while laughter danced lightly in the air, weaving a tapestry of joy. The backyard wedding unfolded in an intimate setting, close and personal. A small circle of trusted companions, a few familiar faces from work, and Chloe, who had boldly claimed the titles of flower girl, ring bearer, and the ultimate authority over it all. Lily lingered at the path's end, clad in a soft ivory dress that whispered of simplicity and timeless elegance. Her eyes shimmered with a captivating light as she locked gazes with Ethan, enveloped by a delicate canopy of white blossoms. Chloe clutched one of her hands tightly, while a vibrant bouquet filled the other, a symbol of the moment's beauty. As Lily approached, Ethan grasped both of her hands tightly, their connection electric. You stumbled into my life by sheer chance, he murmured, his voice enveloping me like a comforting embrace. Yet loving you has become the most deliberate journey of my life. Lily's voice quivered, each word laced with uncertainty as she responded. In a moment of unexpected warmth, I discovered that home could be nestled within the embrace of another. But what about you and Chloe? You are the sanctuary I never had the courage to envision. The efficient smile widened as the words echoed through the air, charged with emotion. By the power vested in me, he proclaimed, I now pronounce you husband and wife. The moment hung suspended, A breathless pause before the world erupted in joy. Before he could utter another word, Chloe's voice rang out, "You can kiss her now." Laughter erupted around them, and Ethan took action. They shared a heartfelt embrace, smiling as Chloe cheered and tossed petals into the air. The reception that followed unfolded with an unassuming elegance. Folding chairs stood in a haphazard circle, fairy lights twinkling like stars above, while mason jars filled with refreshing lemonade glimmered in the soft glow. In the center, a chocolate cake, adorned with Chloe's uneven but heartfelt decorations, beckoned with promises of sweetness. In the shadows, silence reigned. There were no press releases, no grand ballroom, no spotlight to illuminate the unfolding drama. Only love. 1 year later, the front window of a quaint corner shop glimmered with new life, now adorned with the words, "The Sunflower Library, Children's Books, and Community Classes." Within the dimly lit room, Lily stood behind a table, her presence a beacon of creativity as she expertly guided a small group of eager children through an enchanting craft session. Crayons tumbled across the table, their vibrant colors glinting in the light, each one a tiny vessel of untold stories waiting to be unleashed. Every wall was a tapestry of storybooks, each spine whispering secrets of adventure and wonder. In the dimly lit back room, Ethan sat surrounded by a circle of wide-eyed toddlers, their rapt attention fixed on him as he brought to life the enchanting tale of the very hungry caterpillar, each word weaving a spell that held them captive. At his feet, a small boy with dark curls and wide, curious eyes gazed up, filled with wonder and anticipation. Henry, just shy of 2, possessed Lily's delicate nose and Ethan's insatiable curiosity. Chloe perched close by, a self-assured 6-year-old, her voice rising and falling as she read aloud to Henry, who eagerly awaited his brother's return. "You're destined to be a big reader just like me," she declared, her voice steady and unwavering. On a fateful Saturday afternoon, a sleek black car glided to a stop in front of the store, its presence commanding attention and curiosity. From the shadows emerged Richard and Eleanor, Ethan's parents, their presence commanding the air around them. In the shadows of his early struggles, they had kept their distance, but as time wove its intricate tapestry, the threads of their hearts began to soften. Inside, Chloe dashed toward the door, her heart pounding with urgency. "Grandma! Grandpa! Do you yearn to cross paths with Henry once more?" With cautious steps and bright smiles, they crossed the threshold, and Lily gently placed Henry into waiting arms. Ethan's father cradled the boy with an air of uncertainty, his grip faltering, but Henry, with a mischievous glint in his eye, reached for the tie and let out a delighted giggle. Something in the old man's face shattered. His gaze shifted from the innocent face of his grandson to the determined eyes of Ethan. "You've created something remarkable here," he remarked, his voice laced with admiration. Ethan gave a subtle nod, his expression revealing a depth of understanding that words could not convey. Assistance came my way. As twilight enveloped the city, casting long shadows over the brownstones, Ethan found himself on the back steps of the shop. The warmth of the day lingered in the air, and Lily nestled against him, her presence a comforting weight. In her arms, Henry slept peacefully, the world around them fading into a gentle hush. "Do you recall that fateful night when our paths first crossed?" she inquired. "Are you referring to the chaotic mix-up with the emergency babysitter?" he taunted. She gave him a gentle push. It was pure chaos, a whirlwind of confusion and turmoil, the most exhilarating chaos I've ever experienced. In the stillness of the night, they lingered, captivated by the enchanting dance of fireflies flickering in the garden. "I used to believe family had to fit a specific mold," Lily whispered, her voice trembling with newfound understanding. "But now I realize it's all about love. It has always been just that." Ethan pressed his lips gently to the crown of her head, a tender gesture that spoke volumes in the silence between them. "And this is the kind I never believed I was worthy of." Henry stirred, and Lily's gentle hum wrapped around him like a soothing embrace, coaxing him back into the realm of dreams. Within the cozy confines of the room, Chloe meticulously arranged the books on a shelf marked with the enticing title, Staff Picks by Chloe. One of the titles was How Families Are Forged, not by blood, but by the unwavering presence, by the steadfast commitment, by the fierce love that endures even in the darkest of times. Under a vibrant sign that boldly proclaimed you belong here, the Walker family, chaotic, boisterous, and beautifully flawed, discovered all they had ever sought: the unwavering bond of one another. We are grateful for your presence as we embark on this profound journey together. Ethan, Lily, Chloe, and little Henry taught us that family transcends perfect beginnings. It's about those who choose to remain, to love fiercely, and to forge something genuine from the chaos of unforeseen moments. In a twist of fate, a misdialed number opens the door to unexpected connections. In the most unexpected moments, love emerges, arriving precisely when we need it the most. If this tale resonated with you, brought a smile to your face, or awakened something profound within your soul, we invite you to join us on a journey with soul-stirring stories. Each week, we unveil fresh narratives woven with threads of love, healing, resilience, and the subtle enchantment that binds us as humans. Smash that subscribe button and allow us to weave our tales into the very fabric of your soul, one captivating story at a time.